Always good. Everyone is tested, I'm sure. Well, I can see everyone's actually quite spread out. It's a massive room to sit in. Hope you guys had all a nice coffee break, energized of such a long day, I suppose, with lots of panels, lots of workshops. I'm delighted to have Marta and Alia here. Marta from 7Mind, Alia from Vuga, speaking about creatives best practices, tips and tricks from meditation app and from gaming, so two different verticals. We all know creatives have become even more important now post-ATT. Without a good creative, all the good algorithms can't do their job either. I think it's going to be a good session. Then we're closing with a nice quiz. I see some familiar faces from the last APS 2 years ago. Good seeing you again. We have which ad won. It's quite nice. You have to guess which creative has provided the biggest lift. And then Benny here in the round has a nice bottle of champagne, nice Moët, I think it is, so you can win that. So definitely stay in, apply your learnings from the panel to then make the best guess. Cool, I think I now can press the button to start with your favorite creatives that Marta and Alia brought with them. Does that work?
Du entspannst und deine Krankenkasse zahlt. Mach den Stresspräventionskurs und nutz die Meditations-App 7Mind kostenfrei.
Yeah, I do apologize, but it's in German. Maybe some of you were lucky to understand.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the creative and why you picked it, and maybe in the context of 7Mind as well?
Absolutely. So as Bastian already mentioned, 7Mind is a meditation and mindfulness app. So as you saw here in the video, maybe not all of you understood, but essentially we were showcasing 7Mind as a product, but also one of our value propositions is that we have partnered with insurance companies here in Germany. We are actually reimbursed by the German insurance system. So that means that if you live in Germany and you have public insurance, you can get the app reimbursed. So we wanted to advertise in this video this value proposition to, essentially tell users that they can use the app for free or to a large extent for free, depending on which insurance company they are insured with. And as you saw, we wanted to also get closer to the younger audience. When you think about meditation products, mindfulness products, probably cliche yoga girl comes to your minds, and you think about typically female audience as well. So we wanted to bring the younger audience essentially and focus on them, and also make it appealing within this video. And it performed. We have partnered also with, this video was not produced in-house, so we partnered with one agency that has produced it for us, and it was really performing well. Also showing alternative users and so on, so yeah.
Nice, cool. Yeah, looks good. We're going to get into details in terms of creative productions and KPIs in a little bit, but let's move to the Vuga creative. Let's see. That's not a video. Do you want to tell about it?
So
probably can't see it from there, but yeah.
I can see a little bit, but we are producing quite a lot of videos, very sophisticated concept. But I wanted to show this very simple banner because since we introduced this banner, which was a quick test, it outperformed everything that we produced in all networks, which was really shocking for us because it's really simple. Journey is a hidden object game. So here you see it find one item that is hidden. So it's extremely simple, but it shows the core feature of the game where we challenge people to just try to find something hidden in the scene. It's also showing the aesthetics of the game. It's very polished and everything. But this special case is also very interesting for us because we were so intrigued when it worked. we just decided to try to understand what is driving volume and monetization. So from this banner, we iterated around like 400, 500 banners, similar, to really try to understand what is working. So we tested items, atmospheres, locations, every design element, and we just learned so much about why is it working. And now this is basically our outperforming concept that we iterate on based on seasonality, but also on videos. So where we always challenge people just to find things. So for us, it's just interesting to see that the more simple, maybe the better in the end.
Okay. Maybe quick one, hands up, who is in gaming from you guys? Anyone working for gaming companies? 1, 2, 3, okay, cool. And health, meditation space, someone? Okay, cool, thank you. So obviously there are differences, right? I guess in budgets, in general, some established gaming player like Vuga has probably a lot of budget aside for testing, for running those iterations. You guys are probably a bit more limited as the up-and-coming meditation app in terms of testing and resources. And I suppose everyone in the audience is facing the challenge of creating new creatives. So maybe, Marta, from your side, what is the biggest challenge? Now, you heard from Alia that they have 500 iterations of one creative with different themes. Well, how does it look on your side with limited resources?
Absolutely. So I think you used the keyword here, resource. So we have to be resourceful when it comes to creative production, which means that we also collaborate across departments. Whenever we produce something, we recycle assets. This is what we say. So we have also our podcast, and one of also our very good performing asset was also the static asset that was actually primarily produced for the podcast purpose. And then we've realized, okay, we want to also maybe focus on the male audience. Let's use our podcast phase to create some assets. And we have also iterated a lot as we determined quickly that he was performing well. But what we realize is, I don't know if it's the case for you guys, but whenever we come up with a winning asset, whenever we iterate on the winning asset, these iterations don't necessarily replicate the result. So this is, I would say, an interesting phenomenon because you would expect, to drive similar volumes and hopefully as well similar conversion rates, but that's not necessarily the case. So we still stick to the best performing assets we iterate, perhaps not 500 iterations as in this case, but we do try to, bring the winning assets within also the seasonal campaigns or so. This is something that we try to focus on. But definitely being resourceful in small teams, lean teams, is something that is extremely important when you have limited design resources. But as mentioned, we try to, obviously we stick to the brand guidelines and so on, but we also try to come up with new concepts. And if you have limited design resources within an organization, it's also important to bring new input, which is why we are always willing to partner with agencies that have perhaps a fresh look on what we offer and how we offer it. I don't want to go into details too much, but essentially within our product or subscription range, we not only offer mobile subscriptions, but as mentioned earlier, we also offer insurance subscriptions, whether it's reimbursement or whether it's a specific insurance that you are insured with. We have quite interesting offers also for students and so on. So also to tailor and create a message for a given audience, for a given target group, we also have to focus and incorporate this message within the asset production. So this is something that we certainly focus on, and having a fresh perspective is obviously a key as well, especially thinking about the cliche target audience, again, a yoga girl, that is trying to deep dive into herself, or for instance, a student but is in the engineering course. These assets certainly won't be similar, and this is something that we also take into account, obviously, while we create tailored assets.
And you mentioned you are outsourcing mostly and working with one agency or various agencies that then develop new themes? Or how does it work?
Yes, so we partner with different agencies. The main reason here is that we want to bring a fresh perspective, new outlook, because oftentimes when you're in an organization for a long time, you're thinking in things that typically work, and it's hard, to take a step back and think, okay, what we haven't tried yet, but might be appealing, which is why we try to, open collaborations with new agencies. But also, for instance, with this video, but we've created the asset. We have now created a new iteration of assets, because we were very happy with the outcome. So we are focusing on the given value proposition with this new iteration and deep diving into the content that we have. So depending on the language within the 7Mind app, we offer sometimes more than 1,000 meditation courses, depending on the different momentum in life. So we try to be an essentially companionship app for different life circumstances and situations. So right now we are focusing on different value proposition, ranging from mindful eating to pregnancy. So certainly different courses, but are also bringing a fresh perspective on your life and daily situations and routines, but perhaps are very well established oftentimes.
Cool. And Alia, on your side, how does it look like there? Are you working in-house? Are you outsourcing, both?
Yeah, so at Wooga, we have a very agile and defined process when it comes to creative production, but also we separate new concepts and iterations. So we work closely with marketing and creative teams. And when it comes to new concepts, we always brainstorm with the marketing and creative teams to try to solve an issue. If we want to reach a younger audience, or I don't know, unlock a new inventory, anything, we have this goal to achieve, and then we brainstorm all together. Sometimes we invite also even our writers, because they are very creative. And then we come up with a lot of different concepts. The idea is to come up with very uncommon and surprising ideas, and we select the most promising ones. And then if we have enough capacity internally, we produce them. Mm-hmm. But since we have also a lot of things to produce, like we do TV, podcasts, we also have all the CRM, all the kind of assets that we create. If we don't have this capacity internally, we just go for agencies that we work with. Mm-hmm. If we can, we do it. When it comes to iterations, we do it internally, because we have a very defined process for iterations. We have this bi-weekly meeting with the marketing and creative teams, where basically UA team gives all the numbers. Like, this is what is working, what is not working. We also show the competitive trends, and we discuss also, we try to compare, does ASOS see that on their side as well? So we discuss all together, and this is also when we, for example, we need to, I don't know, improve something specific, like our IPM got lower recently, we need to do something about it, so we will discuss some ways to iterate in order to improve our IPM, so it can be like working on the intro. So this is something that we discuss all together, but then we iterate once a month with a bunch of new iterations where we change a few things, then we test, and then we see what's working, we use the learnings for the next iteration. So it's always like a cycle, and this is 100% internally. Yeah, so this is how we do that.
And that is together with your BI team then as well. When you look at the KPIs, we're going to start talking about KPIs as well. Are they involved at all, looking into that? Or?
Not really. We have a BI tool, an internal BI tool. So we basically track everything, and we see. So we just look at what's happening, and then we report. And,
okay.
And in terms of KPIs at Wooga, we are monetization focused. So we basically want to spend the budget where it makes sense. and make sure we spend the budget in the creatives that are bringing quality users. So for us, the main KPIs are retention and ROI. If the return on investment is not good, there's no need to do that. But we also look at the CPI and IPM as primarily KPIs because they are good indicators if the creatives are promising or not. But the decisive KPIs are ROI retention.
Okay. And how are you guys going to do that when speaking about KPIs? What are you looking at?
Yeah, so certainly similar KPIs. I think also being a small organization, we are very ROI focused. So monetization is the key. Whenever we are running campaigns, we are trying to focus on the lower funnel and running conversion campaigns, regardless of whether these are mobile campaigns or web campaigns, because we do both. And yes, it's always monetization, and obviously focus also on the LTV. So this is, I think, the key to success, focusing on users that are likely to convert and purchase. Obviously, during this user journey, we are also looking at the events that are a bit in the top funnel, especially if we are launching the first campaigns in new countries or so, and we want to first generate the knowledge, generate the data. So we are starting there. But principally and primarily, the focus is always to monetize the users. And we, as mentioned, we offer a wide range of subscription offers, whether you want to be reimbursed, or maybe your insurance pays for it, or maybe you want to try it for free first and then look into mobile options, because the reimbursement offer also comes with some challenges. So you have to first complete the course, and then these metrics within the completion of the course are obviously very important to us as well. So as always, acquisition goes hand in hand with retention, and I think it's the case here for everyone. So this is also, it's very important for both teams to work hand in hand, look into the metrics, look at the user behavior to determine what is driving the conversion. And obviously, data is key, so also working with data analysts, the BI team, to determine these points, where the users convert, or more importantly, where they churn, so that you can prevent it with the next cohort.
Okay. So, I mean, you said you're optimizing towards revenue. In the end of the day, it's all based on monetization efforts. The problem is you can't really, as a KPI, take an ITA, right? A post-install metric, because it's taking too long, right? I guess that is the reason. Like to have the data coming in, the revenue data, is that why you're looking at retention or IPM instead? Or could there be any potentially better proxy that is closer related to purchases or subscriptions and revenue in general?
For us in gaming, I think there are some events that are really important, like if people completed the tutorial, if people completed certain rounds, etc. So this is also custom events that are super important for us that we also look at. But it really also depends on the networks and where we can actually use them. And then this is also something that we work with data analysts internally, because there are things that we can use, but it's also hard to really find your sweet spot sometimes when you want to, you get your data, you know when people are converting, what is really interesting in terms of chapters in the game, for example. But when you want to make some prediction and think, is this really my sweet spot? This is another question. So.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize on that, because when we're coming to the Which App Won quiz, that's all based on ITI, impression to install. That's how we try to optimize our creative A/B testing. We were looking actually into a way how you could A/B test based on impression to action, actually. but again, it takes too long to get the purchases in, and you want to iterate quickly. But we also saw, I think it's like 75% correlation from ITI to ITA. So we are staying at the moment with ITI as a KPI to analyze or iterate based on. What I found interesting that you just said, you're inviting your writers. So writers in your case is the story writers of June's journey. In that case, they're constantly developing the game, I suppose.
Yeah, basically the game is story driven. So we have, it's heavy in terms of text and storyline. And in the beginning, when doing our brainstorm, we were always making sure we invite a lot of different people. Because if you always have the same people, you always come up with the same ideas. So we have our goal, we want to make sure everybody's aligned. But we really noticed that in the beginning, having people from art team, data, for those who want to come, which doesn't happen a lot. But yeah, we started to invite writers as well, and they know the story. They know things that we should not use, because we also don't want to spoil some stuff, but they're also very creative, and they think out of the box most of the time, and this is great for a new concept.
And is there a clash as well between the creative guys and the data guys, that they don't understand why the concept is not accepted, or do you see that?
It's mainly between marketing, UA, and writers.
Okay.
Writers, they are like defending the story, and sometimes there are things that we want to show, and they're like, nope.
Okay. And is then the story, is that developed based on the creative, and like, are you agreeing before you're actually developing the story and then putting like a new level in place, or is it vice versa? There's a level. I guess you're constantly developing new levels, right? To keep users engaged, and then is the creative concept there at first, and the level is developed, or vice versa, or?
It's more the story. We add more chapters, and the writers, they just write another set of story, adventures, and everything. And based on that, we produce the art for that. June is traveling all around the world, so it's always, I don't know, she's going to travel in Japan, so there will be an adventure, and then we'll have Japanese kind of art. And then marketing and UA use the art already available in the game to advertise. Okay.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think where I'm getting a bit is with misleading ads. That was a phenomenon maybe, or still is being used widely, maybe in gaming, not sure so much in other verticals. But yeah, triggering clicks with a kind of like faked gameplay that doesn't really exist, or fake user experience. And I remember some cases from some customers where they got banned by the IAB for doing so, and then because it was misleading, like a level didn't even exist, but then they just created a level quickly, so just for that creative, because the creative worked so well that they asked their developers to just build in like level 3,655, so they're compliant with what they're showing. Any comment?
I personally think it's good for them, if it's useful. For us, we don't do that because we protect our brand, and June's journey is very sophisticated. The game is very polished. The aesthetics is really good. The game is good, so we don't really need that. And it was never something that we thought we had to do. We also have lots of in-game features that are working pretty well, and that we can use also for our creatives. But yeah, I guess it depends also on the brand and how much you want to go to advertise. But this is not the direction that we took and that we are taking.
Better stay safe on that side. How about you? You mentioned also the user journey. Is that always very coherent with the user journey, or do we see things working that got nothing to do with the app itself?
Yeah, I had to smile when you said misleading, because we also actually, when it comes to this insurance package, it's quite complex to explain that you have to, do the course and complete it, and then you have to ask your insurance. The process, obviously, is quite complex because we are in Germany, so you know the level of bureaucracy here, and it makes sense because we have to comply, right? So how do you advertise this complex process within one short video? I think there were some panels earlier or presentations where they also were, you know, emphasizing the simplicity. Simplicity is really important when you create a video or a static banner, so that you don't overwhelm your prospect users with too much information, because when that happens, they might back out. So we also tested a lot the messaging, the copy, the content, and the realization that we have is always that simplicity makes it easier in terms of conversion rates and click-through rates and so on. So users are interested, but then we obviously have also internally within the organization some, let's say, heated discussions, because the healthcare team, the content team that is working on these courses and certification is obviously, you know, gearing towards being coherent and really reflecting the message and the process and the complexity, as opposed to us in the UA team, where we want to simplify it and, you know, attract the users and make the offer appealing. So this is something that might come across as a bit misleading when you see, okay, the offer is, you know, for instance, without the cost or so. So this is something but is obviously sometimes a point of discussion. But again, the entire offer is again in the negotiations, and I think the healthcare system in Germany is also getting another level of complexity, because more and more apps within the healthcare are offering this kind of products, digital products that are reimbursable. So because of that, the process is getting complex, and that does not go necessarily hand in hand with the desire of performance marketeers who want to simplify the messaging, the video. We don't have that much time, right? Ideally 10 to 15 seconds to showcase the product and the package and the offer and all the value propositions. So the process might get complex. So sometimes it is the point of discussion, but at the end of the day, we have to all meet halfway.
Which insurances are you working with?
All of them in Germany, public insurance. So this is a reimbursement, but we also have exclusive offers, for instance, with Barmer insurance. Yeah, okay. So if there are any Barmer injuries here, go ahead, check it out. The app is for free for you.
Yeah, I was just trying to do the job for you, yeah. To sell it. It's free. Just go on your German.
But yeah, before that, click on our tracker, please.
Cool. So I guess you're not allowed to advertise with them in your app, or
no, we are. So we have a partnership, and we do advertise a lot. They also do ads for us. We do ads for them. We do ads together, because it's a great partnership we have in place. And at the end of the day, you know, we want to digitalize the healthcare system here. And I think it's great that we have the option, you know, because oftentimes we talk about the screen time, we talk about Zoom fatigue, we talk about all these things, the technology, how it impacts our health. And I'm 100% sure, but also for the entire audience here, we feel it all. So it's nice to see that we also offer products that are actually changing this, so that we experience less fatigue because of technology.
You just mentioned the video, and you brought obviously the video for a reason. Was it actually KPI based, that it just outperformed everything?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So we have several formulas within the organization. So first of all, we also wanted to bring fresh input again from the organization to the table. So we also have cross-functional teams where we invite team members from other departments to sit with us, brainstorm, and come up with a concept. And we have this on a quarterly basis, and then the quarter after that that we iterate on the winning assets. And that also forces us to come up with new ideas. And obviously, people who work with us from different departments had that input. And then they also can't complain, that this ad is bad or this ad, I don't like it, which oftentimes is the case as well, because then their opinion is incorporated. But also, I think one presentation earlier today was on user-generated content, influencer marketing. So this is also something we are tapping into, and we also partner with influencers or with our users to create content for us so that we can then push it through our channels and attract like-minded users or the community of the given influencer to the app.
And are they just giving you the content for free, or how does it work?
Not necessarily for free, but yes, I guess it's a normal phenomenon. No, we do have also some users that are actually advertising on their channels, our app, but it's not super often the case, right? At the end of the day, content creators these days, they also need to monetize, and which is why they partner with different brands. But certainly, we do have content creators that use our app and are super happy to work with us because they use the app. They might not necessarily create content for us for free, but then they know the product and they can focus on the features they enjoy about it to create the tailored content.
Okay. Nice. I guess the influencer marketing side is for you guys not so important, or is that something that you're looking into? Yeah.
Yeah. So our marketing team does quite a lot of TV campaigns, influencer, podcast. Yeah, and influencers we have been scaling quite a lot since the last 2 years, along with TV actually. And for us, it's pretty good way to get some organic uplift, yeah.
But then on the creative side, are you able to use the content from from them on other channels?
No, we make, so for TV, we have very specific TV creatives. For influencers, I'm not sure, I don't think we can use their own content. Sometimes it happens that when we have a strong collaboration with one influencer, we can get some bonuses, some nice videos that we can use, but it's just sometimes. It's not a general rule.
Okay. In terms of ad formats, so you brought a video, you brought a static banner. What do you see there, Marta? Do you see that video is performing
yes,
best amongst all ad formats?
Yes. So this is an interesting question because I think so there are several components to this question, I would say. We do, in general, see that when we have a good video, it can easily go viral, and then it's a powerful asset because people engage with it, and then it brings also users organically to that asset. That might be very engaging as well because of the content, because of what is happening within the video. Especially, we've seen it back in the day with user testimonials. So, when it was quite fresh, to record a selfie video and talk about the product. So this was the first thing that went viral, and we could really easily scale the given campaign. Now, when it comes to the statics, I think that the likelihood of these assets to go viral is significantly lower. But we do, in general, see, because the attention span is so lower across different, so much lower across different channels these days, that in general, it's easier for us to scale the campaign and have the static asset win within that campaign, which I think is also a recent change. Having been in this industry for a few years now, that was not the case before. It's at least my perception. Right now, we see, in general, static assets outperforming videos. So either our videos are so bad, or it's just general the trend. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see. And whenever we roll out the new concept, we always get excited. Okay, which asset's going to win this time? Is it going to be the video? And of course, also, it's much easier to produce a static asset as opposed to animation or the video in general. So in terms of effort and time commitment, I think it's in general much easier to iterate on the statics, which is also why perhaps it's our preferential format. But I was just looking here at this static you've provided, and I'm really captivated. I really want to find the rows. Yeah.
It's easier here because the screen is big, but when it's on a phone, it drives some people crazy.
I can imagine why it performed well.
But you're triggering it as well, right? It's popping up eventually or not? Or
Yeah, we have versions, like video versions, where at some point it pops up. Yeah.
Okay. And from your side, well, I guess video is important, but are there any surprises on the ad formats, any shifts that you have seen?
Yeah, so for us, we basically push statics videos and playable ads. It's really uncommon in the gaming to have statics, a significant amount of spend on statics. Like, we are aware that it's not common. We think it's really a good fit for our product. Videos are really huge, but what we notice is we used to spend quite a lot on playable ads, and we had to scale back a bit. We used to see good volume, great retention, ROI. It's a bit more competitive than videos, but overall, like, the quality is there. But it has been in decline like over the year. So now we are really spending much more on videos and banners. But regarding the iterations, when you were talking about this one and how easy it is to test banners, what we usually do also is, before producing a video that will showcase a gameplay or a scene of the game, we test it on banners. Because we have so many scenes in the game, and sometimes you just don't know if, I don't know, this scene with those specific colors and atmosphere is going to work better. So we test on banners, and we learn, and then we iterate on videos.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it also depends on the channel, right? Because obviously you won't be showing static assets on YouTube, right? So I think it also comes down to the channel and the focus. Similar trends on TikTok right now. So I think it depends when it comes to Facebook, Instagram. There's more possibility, let's say. But at the end of the day, it's also very important to tailor it and focus on what is the channel we actually want to advertise.
Okay. Well, I just got a sign that we're almost at time. Time is actually ticking quicker than expected. Maybe one last thing, because we spoke about iterations a lot, creative production, budgets we haven't really touched on. But how do you approach the testing? I suppose you're going into one market first, and then rolling it out, and well, that is, I guess, for your case, a little bit different. As June is traveling the world, as you said, how do you do that? From a geo's perspective, localization.
In terms of market, what we see is what's going to work in US is probably not going to work in Japan. And there are big differences. If we take Asia, Europe, and other tier 1 countries, sometimes we see similar things, but overall we test in English-speaking markets, and then we see how those are working in LATAM or APAC. Sometimes it's aligned, but most of the time it's not. The big thing that we notice is we have in-game features, and we produce creatives for UA based on that. And we have, for example, a competitive mode that is really working well in APAC and only in APAC. So there are things that are very specific to one market. Something else might work in Germany, but not in the US.
So you would not necessarily start in cheaper markets like the Philippines or so, not to waste budget, because that doesn't tell you a lot.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Many other questions probably for today. Feel free to approach Elia and Marta if you want to talk about seasonality, Christmas is coming up, or any other testing approaches. I think now there's 5 minutes left, so everyone who wants to win a bottle of champagne, actually you're obliged to stand up. Everyone has to stand up now, because we will be eliminating you. There's now a creative coming up, 2 creatives. And raise your hand if you believe creative A outperformed creative B. If you think creative B is doing better, then just don't do anything. Whoever is wrong, please sit down. We've got 5 rounds. So yeah, whoever is remaining and is in the last final round will be asked what the actual ITI is. Whoever is closest going to go home with the bottle of Moët. You're also invited to join if you want to. Come on.
Should I?
Yeah, stand up. Well, actually, you have it there. You can see it.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
The first one is Olymp Trade, so obviously a trading platform. So hands up, who believes it's version A? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 70% of the room. We talked about it earlier, that some ads are counterintuitive. So in that case, we saw actually a 33% uplift for the right creative. It's always open for interpretation, I suppose. But here the theory is it offers already an insight in how the app looks, how it works, because you can scroll through it. So the idea. But in the end of the day, it's always about testing. It's always counterintuitive. So the next one, that's an interesting one. Dating.com, dating company. We spoke about banners before. Hands up, version A. Well, again, everyone seems to be very clear, and that is correct, 430%. So that is a dynamic animation. Makes sense, it's quite crisp. On the right side, it's probably too busy. The logo doesn't really come across that well. So yeah, not so many left. Got the third one. Skip through that. Animations. Just look at animations. That is Social Casino, a company called FunStage from Austria, quite big social casino space. Version A. Yeah. It's version B. So here the theory is, and not so many left anymore. The theory is that it actually copies the gameplay of a slot, like more real. I think that is also what they found lately in our creative team, and then now doing a lot of those productions for all the social casino clients. Okay, skip through that. That's more old school. Immowelt, who lives in Berlin, probably has used it to either look to rent an apartment or buy, which is not possible, really, here Mitte at least. Version A. Cool. Version B again. 28% uplift. Again, it shows more features of the app. You see the price in here, the square meters. That is the idea. So what? There's only one person left. Who's left? Wow, that's easy.
Well done.
What's your name? Jürgen? Mirko. Yeah. Nice. Mirko, what do you do? Where are you from?
I'm with France.
Nice. Branch. Excellent. From Bremen all the way to Berlin. Well, thanks for playing the game. Maybe ask Jürgen if he wants to share the bottle later on. Thanks, Alia. Thanks, Mada. I wish we would have more time. Feel free to approach them later in the, I guess, networking hour at 6. It is? Correct. Thank you very much, James. APS. APS Online. I haven't seen you, but thanks a lot.
Thank you.